and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's go.
Round one, fight.
Thank you for tuning in to the Crypto Street Podcast. Here are your hosts, Killer Whale, Prince, and Crypto Dale.
And remember to tip your waitress.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 27, or 28, I think, actually, of the Crypto Street Podcast. This is your host, Killer Whale. I am here with my buddy, Prince.
Hey.
We are missing Dale today, but he'll be back soon. Prince, how you doing, buddy?
Well, again, I'm cold. Market sucks. So I guess, I'm just living in paradise, right? Just another day.
Our guest today is the Korean Jew on Twitter, and I think we're going to get right off to it and just kind of get your thoughts on this bear market, or maybe not a bear market, but this bad couple of weeks we've had in crypto, big decline. So what have been your thoughts on this? What have you been doing, if anything, with your portfolio over the past few days?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, it's kind of reminiscent of when I first got into crypto, to be honest. I bought at like what was then the all-time high at around 3K, and this was right before Bitcoin Cash fork. People were freaking out, and it dumped down to about 1,800, 1,700. So it was like half the market cap was gone. People thought the sky was falling. And since then, I've been through this multiple times. Let's not kid ourselves. This is bad. And, you have all those people on the sidelines that go, oh, it's a bubble. It's going to pop. We literally lost 60% of the market cap. We were at about 800 billion. So when people talk about a bubble popping, that happened. It happened right now. And if you're running to Tether and fiat at this point, this is not financial advice, but we're closer to the bottom, in my opinion, than the top. So, at this point, if you didn't prepare yourself, it's a lesson learned. And I'm not going to sit here and say I knew this was coming and I saw it coming and I went all fiat. I'm not one of those guys that goes 100% in either direction. I try to keep my portfolio in a position where I can react to whatever the market does. But I'll admit I wasn't prepared for this. So, at the end of the day, I'll look at where I am now compared to where I was. And, not to brag, but I'm still killing it. In the grand scheme of things, we still did very, very well. I saw a tweet. Somebody said, Bitcoin's 19K. Oh, I wish I bought it 7K. Oh, now Bitcoin's 7K. Oh shit, I better sell the bottom. That's real though. Like that's like people lose perspective. And
that's psychology of the market right there. It's awesome.
Around,
I love it
because
it's such a psychological thing. And in a sense, trading is we have to go against our natural tendencies of trading. So, I think that's why trading is so hard for people to consistently be good at, is because you got to go against what you feel. And right now, I can tell you there's probably a lot of people, myself included, who thought, oh, I got to rage sell this. I got to get the hell out. And I got to, just take my cash and exit all crypto markets. You know what I mean? But I think, that's a panic mindset, right? And having a panicked mindset is just toxic for yourself and your portfolio. I made it, I guess we know, I made a tweet. I diversified a bit. Now I look back, it's like, oh man, I wish I took out 70% of my crypto into other stuff. But it's like, no, that's not how it is, because you can't go back and change things, right? So, I think everybody in crypto right now is taking a hit. There's nobody that is not taking a hit. So, you kind of just got to plan and keep strategically thinking about how you're going to attack this all. And don't be panicked, don't be flustered in your decision making.
Well, look, hindsight's 2020. And, there were plenty of people. I witnessed it in September when China FUD hit and Bitcoin hit 3,000. And people, I watched people sell it at 3,300 and say, oh, I'm waiting for 2,500. And then when Bitcoin reversed, Bitcoin doesn't give a fuck. It starts to reverse and people go, oh, I'm waiting for the dip. And it was so many people just left altogether because they could never find the will to get back in. And, it's kind of sad, but that's the way the game goes. It's a zero-sum game. We can't all win. And, you need to take a big perspective and look at why did you get in here? Because I know we all talk that good shit about how blockchain is the future, how Bitcoin is going to take over, and decentralization, and all the good things that you told your family members and your friends to try to convince them to join and buy when everything was cheap. None of that has changed. And you look at where the market cap is right now, it's like 325. Do you really think that in the next year or so, we're not going to break $1 trillion? Like, really?
Exactly.
So,
it's funny too, because some of the guys, the true believers, the guys who are in crypto for the technology, not the guys who are in it to, try to get rich. You really don't see them panicking a whole lot on Twitter, right? Those are probably some of the calmest guys I've seen so far, crypto Twitter. Crypto Twitter has been hilarious in a sense, also kind of sad to watch, but you get a real good feel for how, the market is acting, how people are, feeling, just based on crypto Twitter alone, I think.
Yeah. I have some key unorthodox indicators. So there are certain people I know that when they have a meltdown, I know the bottom is right there.
Yeah.
So like there's a few guys, it's like when this guy freaks out, I'm buying everything I can get my hands on. And this guy freaked out today. So
there we go.
I was like, okay, now's the time. Here's the meltdown. He was holding strong up until today. And
it kind of, it's another thing, right? Like the guys who are holding strong. And this is a really interesting concept to me, the whole hodler mentality. And I don't know if I agree with it, but I do know that there's something to be said that it can make you a hell of a lot of money, especially for the guys who have been able to pull it off, in crypto for the years that they've been in. They're just laughing right now, right? And I think we're kind of getting to see now, people are going to have to decide, are you a hodler or, are you a trader? What are you now? And they're going to have to make a choice. And, saying, oh, I'm a hodler, it sounds great when the prices keep going up, but it's a different game once it starts going down, right?
I mean, I think the main takeaway here for me, and this is something that we knew, is that when Bitcoin hit, it was touching 20K. What I noticed was a lot of people were heavy in alts. And if you remember, people were getting crushed because all they had was alts. And I was telling people, look, we're in this for Bitcoin at the end of the day. And like, how could you not have any Bitcoin? Like when Bitcoin's touching 20K, you want to be celebrating. You don't want to be crying about your alts getting smashed. So, that was a shift. But what has happened since then, people keep messaging me and asking me this question: should I go all to BTC? Like when the market crashes, they're asking me today, should I go all to BTC? Because if BTC rebounds, I don't want my alts to get crushed. They have to understand that paradigm has shifted. It's not happening anymore. When the market comes back, it will go to alts as well as BTC. So if you want to maximize your return and maximize your gains, you need to be diversified in alts. That's the way I see that.
It's alts are funny for me because I think now we look at the market for alts. Alts have been through a few cycles now, right? I think we've seen more alt cycles, I think probably about 2 or 3 almost, where they go into a bull market, a bear market, a bull market, a bear market. So in a sense, you see that and you're like, okay, well, maybe we should be kind of conditioned by now. Alts have already shown us this insane volatility, at least on their Bitcoin ratios, even when Bitcoin was in a strong bull mode. So, it's like sometimes I think to myself, oh, we should be conditioned to these huge swings because they've happened in alts. But yet I think people got really lazy because alts were going down, but because Bitcoin was going up, their dollar value was staying the same. So, it just gave us a lot of opportunities just for complete complacency. And, I think complacency was a big thing with what happened to us. I think everybody might be a little bit at fault for it. I know I was complacent in many moments where it's like, hindsight's 2020. Looking back, it's like, what the hell was I doing there? But yeah, it's a funny situation right now. And I'm a big guy where I believe in have cash on the side when you're uncertain. Don't take yourself completely out of the market, not by no means, but have some powder on the side for when, if you get that, say, that complete capitulation wick and it's like, holy crap, this is just a massive a fire sale just happening, but it's quick. You want to be able to try and take advantage of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot of people we've seen that have also gotten into this, I think it's a poor mentality, which is, well, let's just keep buying the dip. but all of a sudden it's not a dip, it's just a downtrend, and it's like you're just buying all the way down.
I think it hugely depends on your time horizon too, because if you're like an 18-year-old kid and you got disposable income coming out the ass or whatever, like you don't pay for rent or whatever, then go ahead and head over heels into crypto, because you have at least like 30 years before you're going to even think about retiring, right? So with that in mind, I think if you have a really long time horizon, then that sort of buy every dip mentality, I think that can work, but you still do want to diversify, and that's something that I've kind of realized in the past few days and really the past couple of weeks with the market dipping is there were so many times when my portfolio was at or near the all-time high when I was like, I should really diversify some of this. I should diversify some of this out. The gains are good. And I kept telling myself I would do it. And I didn't do it. And I think you get complacent. And I kind of knew I was getting complacent, but like it still didn't compel me to do it. So it's kind of funny. And it goes to show you that even if you're doing the wrong thing, it's still hard to like prevent your own actions. Also, I posted about sending some money to BitMEX like a few days ago. Liquidated, as I alluded to in the tweet. So I got destroyed. It's like I knew that was going to happen. But what do you think in terms of like psychology? How do you? I mean, it's such an important thing with trading, especially with investing.
Right now,
what are some lessons you've learned over your time in the space, KJ? Yeah, in terms of like psychology and keeping a good mindset about trading.
It's like, it sounds kind of corny, but really, I'm one of those people that I've watched the market and I've realized that, and some people may disagree with this, but to me, TA, when it comes to like mid to slow cap, even basically anything out of the top 5 is somewhat overrated. It is. And I think it's a very hype-driven market with catalysts, and people get crazy. They lose their heads. And you have influential people that, they could make a chart, and the chart could say whatever they want for it to say. And they'll be like, hey, look at this buy opportunity. Look at this chart. And then they got 100,000 noobs following them. They fucking buy it. And the price goes up and they go, look at my chart. Look how good of a charter I am. And I'm not taking shots at anybody, but that's the truth. And it's fundamental analysis outweighs TA in spades when it comes to like mid-cap stuff. So for me, like I look at projects that I try to make asymmetrical trades. I try to find something that's so smashed that has great fundamentals and I can't even understand why it's so cheap. And you know what? I just load up my bag. And if it goes down further, I'll buy more. And then I just wait. I wait. And that's how I've done really well and been able to, quit my job, because I've consistently found these projects and done really well with them. So when you look at like the way the market works, also the other thing that I've done is when these type of days happen, like this span where it's really bad and people are freaking out, I found myself being a buyer. I don't know if it's like a gambling background or whatever, but like I take a contrarian approach. So like, for example, when Bitcoin Cash fork occurred, everybody was doing these polls. I was in these groups and they said, what are we going to do with our Bitcoin Cash? Are we going to dump it or are we going to hold? And I said, you know what? Why is buy not an option? Why don't we buy? Because everybody was talking about dumping. And that was the first time where I really got confidence in my own ability to read the market and understand that sometimes when everybody's zigging, you got to zag. And, it's a risk. You take a risk, but it paid off huge. So like every time, that's really where I built myself. And I really like kind of grew my portfolio to the point where, I can make these type of plays. It was because I took risk at times where other people were either scared or everybody would just took something as a given, like this is what's going to happen. And then the market doesn't give a shit, Yeah. So, when you take that approach, it can pay off big. So
I think
that's the way I see it.
I really like that point because, this whole, the herd is such a good indicator of lookout, and we can look at a few really good examples. When we were around, 18, 19K US for the Bitcoin price, I'm pretty sure crypto Twitter has never been more confident.
Right.
Like
that's
it was just sell. Like, it's like, this is never gonna, stop. We're going up forever. We're going to Mars, baby. It's like, screw the moon. We're going all the way, and then, now we're here. And the same thing can be said for Ripple.
Yeah.
Nobody, you know, everybody's like, oh, that's such a shit coin. Why would I ever buy Ripple? Well, then we look at what Ripple's done this year. And yeah, sure, now it's getting, you know, the crap kicked out of it. But it's like,
you still can't argue with the performance. I mean,
yeah, it's made a lot of people a lot of
Yeah.
money, right? And the same thing was with Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, yeah. What's so tough about like judging Twitter sentiment is it's all relative too, because there's not going to be one point where it's going to be glaringly obvious. You're like, whoa, everybody's way too bullish right at this moment. Time to sell. You know, it's like degrees. Like crypto Twitter is bullish in general. And so you have to kind of figure out when it's like extremely like out of the, you know, realm of possibility bullish, which is really hard to like kind of, we all get wrapped up in this. I mean, opinions spread like wildfire. Groupthink is a very real thing. People do ridiculous things in groups that they would never do solo, they would never do with one other person. But this idea of wanting to fit in with a crowd is something that goes back to when we were Neanderthals, you know, or whatever. And we had to stick together to survive. And so this is a basic instinct we all have. And so we know it's stupid and you really have to think for yourself, but it's really hard and we all get wrapped up into it. So I would say that's like one thing I would say is constantly be analyzing your own thoughts and like just look at what your opinions are and just break them down yourself. Take away every other opinion you know about that topic and just think for yourself on it and go, what do I really think is going to happen with this? And I think Ripple is, I know I mentioned it and people hate it, but I think it's the greatest example of that. The fucking thing was at half a cent. And like people were saying, it's a scam, it's going to zero. Like it's at half a cent. It's obviously going higher. Like,
you know, Killer just dropped a real jewel. I mean, so like for me, when I first got into crypto, where my story really started was I used to listen to people like on Twitter. Or no, you know what? Check it. Not on Twitter. I didn't even have a Twitter. I was mainly on YouTube. I didn't even know about crypto Twitter. I didn't know about a hashtag or anything. And like I was doing my own research. When I got into crypto, it was like it possessed me. I was doing 15 hours a day, just all crypto. I couldn't stop, man. And I started to follow these guys on YouTube. I was in private groups. I was in this, I was in that. And I really believed in these people. And I asked them questions and, you know, they weren't always right. And I started to realize that my own instinct was actually good. So the turning point for me was I read the Walton Chain white paper. And it was right after Neo had gone crazy. And I said, you know what? China's hot. The way the market is, people will buy this. Why is nobody talking about it? So I made a Twitter and I started to look and people were like, yeah, check the cash tags. So I was looking $WTC. Nobody was talking about it. I went on YouTube and there was not one video. And this was when Walton was like 60 cents. Okay. So I asked the person that I trusted, that I believe that this person is big. I'm not going to name any names, but this guy has a good reputation. He's a good guy. But he was like, this is shit, you know? And something told me, don't listen to this fucking guy. You know what? You have to do it. Like that's the great part about crypto. Like you can have influence, you know? So I created I made a Twitter, I made a YouTube. I didn't know what name to choose. I always, in video games and AIM and AOL, I always had the worst handle. Like my handle was awful. I won't even say what it is. And I'm like, I got to make a name that gets attention, you know? So I made my name Korean Jew Trading. And I'm like, yeah, they better listen to me. Like this is something that for my whole, because everybody's talking about Korea and Jews. You know, you got the anti-Semites, these Jews run everything. You know, and you got the Koreans. Koreans love crypto. So I'm like, I'm a Korean Jew. All right, let me fucking use this to my advantage because my whole life I've been ridiculed for it. So anyone that says, oh, you're racist, well, I am a literal Korean Jew. You know, like I'm legit. So I made this name, right? And I made a video. I bought a webcam. I didn't know the first thing. I Googled videos on how to do this. And I made this video on Walton. I was the first person to make a Walton video. And that shit got like 2,500 views in a weekend and pumped 300%. And, you know, it's kind of like the rest is history. Yeah, it was insane, bro. I was the first one to do the Walton video. And like, it was just like, I never felt so alive. So if anybody's listening to this and you're just kind of getting in, you know, like, I hope this inspires you to be better than me. You know, I'm not some guy that's like a pro at finance or doing YouTube. I'm a guy that got into this. I got hooked. I loved it. And I decided, you know what do I have to lose? You know, this is crypto. And the greatest thing is that now, the way this market is, it's an opportunity for all new people to kind of get in and not buy the top. They're buying the bottom. You know, and there will be new people that rise up and get recognition. I guarantee it. Every day a star is born. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
And
have you guys had a lot of people reach out who you've told about crypto who have been like, "Oh, should I sell right now? Like, is it time to get out?"
You know what?
Going to zero?
Funny story. My mom actually called me and was like, "How do I buy Neo?" Like it was so random. Yeah. She wanted to buy Neo and EOS actually. So that was like kind of like it gave me confidence. I know it's anecdotal, but to have a non-coiner type person that's she was in banking, she has this traditional background that. People on the outside are watching and they have the confidence in the market. So, just for the people listening, this shit is not going anywhere. It's not. Pandora's box is open. Look at what the SEC said. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Like, it's not going anywhere.
There's so much money involved in this space right now, so much big, like, influential money. They're not going to let this whole blockchain experiment go to zero. There's just no way. And I think, like, we know that, and we've known that for, like, at least several months, if not, like, a couple of years at this point. But, like, I think people on the outside are they're just starting to hear that sort of idea that, hey, this stuff's not going away. I know it's a huge crash, but, I mean, this stuff's not going to zero. And they're like, okay, whatever. But it takes so long to really buy into it, in my experience. Kudos to your mom, I guess, for bringing up Neo, by the way. 'Cause, like 99% of people who bring it up to me in real life, like they talk to me like every 2 weeks and they're like, when are you going to teach me about crypto? When are you going to teach me about crypto? Like nothing's stopping you from learning about it. It's like,
no, nobody taught me. I didn't have a mentor.
That's
I just
the biggest thing too, right? I've dealt with Google. A few people and I even lost, I don't even know if I call it a friendship, but this guy just lost it over me because, don't expect somebody to hold your hand. This is a big thing for me. It's like, yeah, you know what? You need advice. You got questions? Sure. But when it comes down to hand holding, it's like you wake up every day and it's like, bro, the market's down like 3%. What should I do? It's like, stop it. Just stop.
Yeah. I hate to say, but like those types of people are never going to be successful on their own because they're just the types that need to be handheld through everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you need that much guidance and work and you can't like work on your own and kind of be self-sustaining, it's going to take you too long to catch on and you're going to miss the trend. I mean, I literally have had people for the past 6 months, I shit you not, going like every 2 weeks, like, when are you going to teach me about crypto? I'm like, bro, the markets are up like 5 million% since you first asked me
learning
this.
crypto isn't up to anyone else except for yourself.
The best is when people message you and they're like, tell me about Bitcoin. Like, what? Like, do the research, like it's out there. Tell me, teach me Bitcoin. That's the message I get.
They don't even have like good questions. That's how you know they've done zero research, is like when the questions themselves are just asinine. Like I have this so often with people who I talk with who like don't know anything about it. They'll ask things. I'm like, there's no even way to answer that question. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. Like that question doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. To go back to the whole like where the market's at right now, the one thing, and I just kind of thought about this, the one thing we'll call this a crash, whatever. I think 60% in a month. Yeah, 60% in a month. We can call that a crash. The one thing that I think is very good for this is, the money on the side, because, and don't think that there isn't. There's a lot of money on the sidelines. Now things are getting a little more attractive to them. I think a great example was we saw Novogratz, ex-Fortress hedge fund. He postponed his hedge fund for crypto because he said the market conditions weren't right for it, and this is something that I think was, it's like, okay, this is a pro move by him. Thank God, because who really, in all reality, what fund really wants to be starting out when Bitcoin's around 15, 17K, right? Your investors aren't getting good entries. And so I feel bad for all these new startup funds that came into the space recently. There's been a few that I'm sure are blowing up right now, but that's the thing is the real pros, they're going to be chomping their teeth. Now we're getting into more acceptable territory for them to be starting up, getting new investor money into the markets, So that's another big thing to remember.
So I was looking to start a fund. And one of the things I said was, look, we need a portion just in US dollar ready to go for a day like today. So if I had, 20, 30 million on the sideline ready to start my fund, I would wait for a day like today. I just get in there because
you start.
If you look at the history, that's it. And I'll take it one level forward. Yeah. So when I think about what's happening right now, and this is just the way I see it, this is kind of, you call it conspiracy, call it what you want, but you have to look at global politics. So you look at what China has done with this hokey pokey shit. We're in, we're out, we're in, we're out. You know, like how many times? All right, come on. What are we doing? Well, they're always doing this shit, but they're going to do it one too many times. And I don't talk politics, but you look at the leadership of America. We look at Donald Trump. This guy's an opportunist. He takes advantage of opportunity. And he's somebody that's talked about, he wants America to be great. He wants to be innovators. He wants America to be on the forefront. You have this technology that this is the hottest tech since the internet. Like if you know anything, if you've done any research, you realize that blockchain is not going on anywhere, number one. Number two, blockchain is going to be everywhere. So China they were the leaders. They have all the mining. They got all that. But they're serving it to America on a golden platter at this point. Yeah. And if you look at what the SEC
I really don't know
said,
what they're thinking.
Basically they're thinking that America isn't going to take advantage. And you know what? I believe they will. And I think you're going to see that America becomes bullish, and then it's a follow the leader. So if you look at what's going on in global politics, China's taking over the world. They're controlling all the natural resources. We owe them a shitload of money. And now you have this new technology that happens to have a big impact on fintech as well, not for nothing. And it's there for the taking, okay? So what's going to happen is you're going to see America become bullish on crypto, and you're going to have China's going to realize, oh shit, they're taking it from us. All of a sudden, they're going to announce, hey, we have we have a national exchange, and blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to be follow the leader, one domino after the next. All these countries are just going to fall into line. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but if I had to guess, I believe that's what's going to happen.
That's interesting. You just mentioned this. Sorry, Killer. A nationalized exchange. Now that is interesting, and I haven't actually thought about that. But that actually, I think that's probably something we might see at some point. Is a nationalized exchange kind of thing. I think that's really interesting to think about.
Yeah. I'm pretty surprised by how reasonable a lot of the SEC and so on and so forth, a lot of their comments on blockchain and Bitcoin, how reasonable they've been on the subject. I mean, I don't really have a lot of faith in the government to be at the latest forefront of technology and to really understand this stuff. I don't really expect them to do that. So some of the stuff I've read is pretty encouraging. I do think the government is taking a nuanced, careful look at this stuff, and they don't want to stifle innovation. That's something I see repeatedly as a theme in their comments is America wants to be a hotbed for growth and the latest and greatest technology. And it's just like you were saying, KJ, it's like we aim to lead and like set an example and then other countries follow. And so it's kind of amazing to me, though, that somebody like China, I mean, they can see these news stories too. Like, are they not picking up that we're kind of at least open to hearing about this stuff? And isn't that a disadvantage for them? I wonder why they're taking the strategy they've chosen with that in mind.
I think it's like a game of chicken almost.
Yeah, China does what it wants, right? It's who can flex the most.
No, but when if America takes that stance that, this is here to stay, we want to be a part of it, before you know it, China will pop up and they're going to be like, yeah, we're into this too. You could see it's like, it's so simple that it's stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like, oh, that's a conspiracy and that makes too much sense. But when it comes down to it, these people aren't reinventing the wheel. They're playing a big game of chess, and somebody has to make the first move. To me, I think America's about to do it. I think it's about to happen, guys.
I could see it because, especially again, to go back to all the money waiting on the sidelines, the legitimate fund managers, because there's a lot of guys who've been on the street for a lot of years, and they want to get into crypto. They want to because there's so many opportunities to get alpha. They don't even know how. They don't know how, but they can't wait to do it. They look at the market and they're like, wow, like we could just have a heyday here because, at the way the market moves, the volatility, this is just a dream to a lot of these guys, right?
It's the Wild West. I think this is the year the Wild West ends, and the people that are in now are going to get paid big time. If you have the guts to hang in there, this is it. This is it. Absolutely. Because why would they kill the goose that lays the golden egg? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're looking at this and they're licking their chops. There's no doubt.
Yeah. To me, it's also going to be, like, again, we talk about the politics. It's going to be a power play, a power move. Who's going to be, the power player involved for the countries, right? And that's really, I think, when we're going to see maybe our next big movements is when we see the power players step up and really kind of try to take charge.
Alrighty, fellas. We're going to move on to a segment called Over or Under, which I'm sure our listeners are familiar with. We basically pick a coin and a price, and we decide whether we think it's going to be over or under that price in, let's say, 2 weeks. Let's give this drama a little bit of time to play out. So the first one is going to be Ethereum.
Ooh, what do we got here?
Current price of Ethereum is $648.
No way.
Over, under.
I didn't even know Ethereum was down there. Holy crap. I've only been watching Bitcoin today.
648. Let's go over or under 850 in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I could see it. I'm saying over because I do think we're due for a real strong bounce soon. So
to me, my recommendation was like if you had fiat and you were sitting on the sidelines, buy ETH, do an ICO. Because, like for real, think about that. You won't be tempted to sell. You're locked in for 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the ICO. By the time, if you look, let's say your ICO does 3 to 5x and ETH is at 1,200, in March, April, which it should be. You make huge gains. You can't lose. So I'm going over. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great point, though, about ICOs and kind of guarding against yourself. Like, Tezos is a great example. I probably would have dumped this shit a long time ago if I could have. But I've been mandated to hold. So
all I'm hoping is that
Ethereum,
if Tezos launches in a bear market, I'm just hoping they can at least pump to save the portfolio.
Speaking of which, do you think Yuan Chain is like holding off until things get better? Like, what do you think? Because Yuan is obviously going to be very hype when it comes out. I'm curious to hear what you guys got to think about.
That's interesting. That is interesting. And I think maybe it's almost a smart move to just chill out while the market is crazy. On their part, because it's probably a good move.
When we get the raging bulls, like we know every single ICO as soon as it hits the market is just like whoop, like goes up a ramp. For the most part. So it's pretty interesting. Next coin we're going to talk about is Bitcoin, Big Daddy. Bitcoin is currently $6,490 as of recording this. Let's go over or under. Let's go similar. Let's go 8,500 in 2 weeks.
8,500. Well, our last episode we did it over under for 11,000, and I said over in 2 weeks. So, we're slowly dropping the limit here for me to go over. So I'll say over again, even though I made that bold 4K prediction a while back. I still think we are due for a real nice bounce. It's coming, but to say when the hell it's coming, who knows? But I'll say over.
You know what? I have to agree with Prince there. It may get worse before it gets better, but you have the Chinese New Year's on February 16th. That weekend will give people some time to get some money back in the game. I don't know where it's going to be. People talk about 5,500, 5,800. This 3K, 4K talk, I don't see it. I can see 55 happening, but when it goes down there, it's not going to stay down there for long. No. And if you've been around, you know how this works. It goes down fast, it goes up fast. So I would say in 2 weeks, we're over 8,500. I believe that.
2 weeks, I'm going to go under 8,500. I think we got sort of an idea I've been messing with in my head the last week or so is I think maybe Bitcoin is due for a few months, maybe a couple of years of a little bit of a flat bear sort of period. The chart is not looking good in my opinion. I think if you look at it at the peak of past bubbles, it looks really similar to this. I did something the other day where I just dissected 2013, and it's it's really close, the chart pattern. And in human psychology does not change.
Well, here's the deal. The reason why, when you think about it, is all the FUD, because we were looking at when Bitcoin was running, I was thinking to myself, what could stop this run? And in my mind, I said a big exchange going down or Tether FUD. That was one of them, and that seems to be happening. BitConnect being exposed as a scam that we all knew. That wouldn't be good for the market. Korea doing some sort of regulation, America doing some sort of regulation, or China doing their game again. So basically you had 4 of those things happen this month. Meanwhile, Bitcoin went parabolic. So to me, it was 4 of the biggest negative catalysts, it was a perfect storm, happened all at once.
Mhm.
So to me, obviously, this hit, if each of these things happened independently, they would have caused a crash by themselves.
Mhm.
And 4 of them happened all at once. So to me, yes, I think we're entering, or we're in a bearish trend, but we can come out of it. We can come out of it. And then when we do, what's left? There will always be negative shit. But at the same time, a lot of the things that we could have seen happening have happened all at once.
I have a question for you guys. During this downturn, the past month or week and a half, 2 weeks, have you guys ever kind of taken a step back and been surprised at how little it's affected you? Like, I look at my own portfolio, I've lost a fuckload of money. But I just I'm like, well, here we are. It's like I'm on for the ride. Like,
well, look,
I don't know.
We all made a fuckload of money, bro.
I think
we made money. You can't look at like I don't know about you guys, but looking from December to the first week of January, that looking at your blockfolio was absurd. It was absurd. Insane. It's like, holy shit, I made so much money. Yeah. And even right now, I look at what I have. You know what? I'm not going back to managing dental office. It's not happening. Fuck that shit. Yeah. I made more money than I did in my whole fucking life, in a month. So, if you want to make that money, you got to be able to take the losses. You can't just take it and not give it back.
Yeah. I guess to me, a little marker is if you still got some gains from, where you were in November and December, if you're still holding on, if you're still sitting in a nice profit from that level, I think you're doing pretty freaking good. That was an insane run after, that November, December timeframe. I think everybody was just cleaning up, right? And now we've seen the market just try to take away all of that. And I know there are definitely people who have lost all of it. But if you are one of those people that is still, you're doing well, you're still up from that time, give yourself a pat on the back because, you're doing pretty good.
Look, I'll say this. I don't talk about what I have. I don't do the Bellina thing where I show my portfolio and all that.
No,
fuck that.
I think that's nuts.
But in September, I had 4 BTC. Let's put it this way. I have significantly more, at this point. Significantly more. And BTC is more expensive now than it was in September. That's the fact. Mm-hmm. That's the fact.
It's crazy to think about it.
Yeah, think about it that way. The amount of BTC I have now is fucking ridiculous compared to 4 BTC. It's ridiculous. And you think about crypto, where it's going to be in 2020, 2025. Look at your portfolios,
Yeah.
Then people are going to be like, you have 1 Bitcoin? Really? That hasn't changed. It hasn't changed.
Yeah.
You have to zoom out, guys. You have to zoom out. You do.
Absolutely.
That's where, just the classic human emotions take over, right? It's so easy to get caught up in the moment.
It's because we're all fucking greedy. We want to be rich today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And I don't blame you. Go for it. Yeah. It can be done. It still could be done, guys.
Isn't it funny, how quickly you get used to it, though? Because, if I look back, 3 years before, today, and I would, saw myself in this position at my age right now, I would have been like, oh, my God, that worked out way better than I thought. Here I am now.
You couldn't imagine.
Happens, I'm fuck, what am I going to do? I can't get a Porsche this year, maybe.
I started with 5K, man. I started with 5K. I was a bootlegger. I used to bootleg hats and Nickelback T-shirts. For real. You guys are laughing. That shit is not funny anymore. I used to literally sell hats. Yeah, that was my job, and I was living off the government. But at the end of the day, now you look at where we've come in such a short period of time. I fucking love crypto, man. This shit changed my life.
Yeah.
It changed your life. And when you look at the way the market works with ICOs, alts, the opportunity is not gone. It's not gone. It's really not.
Do you ever wonder if maybe we like it more than we should, though, because it's been so good to us?
No.
I think
no. I was like, shut up.
It's been good to us. Man. It's been very, very good to us.
I really don't think it's going
This shit is not luck. I'll tell you this much, because I've seen so many people lose their ass. This is a zero-sum game. The guys like you, Prince, Whale, you guys made money. I made money. For each of us, there's somebody that lost their ass, and RIP to them. I feel bad. But at the end of the day, not everybody can win. Not everybody can win. And if you made it, you earned it. This shit is not easy. It's not free. Nobody's giving us the money.
Definitely.
This was hard work. I don't know about you guys, but anybody that has a lot of followers on Twitter, or you have a private group, you have a Telegram, we've all lost our minds at some point. You know, you laugh, but like I had a fucking breakdown. This shit is no joke. When you get those PMs and there's a lot of pressure. Every tweet there's pressure. That shit is real.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, I'm a guy that like the way I look at this space is like if you have the balls to be in here, like I want you to win. Even if you don't like me, I still want you to win because you're taking the bull by the horns. You're not one of the 95% of people that are just, you know, I want to get a cushy job and work for somebody and eat their scraps. You know, like fuck that. I did that. You know, and if you're here, it means that you have a vision. You want to do better. So I want you to win, even if you don't like me. So when I look at coins that I don't have, like let's say Verge, for instance, I missed that one. It went 20x in a week, and everybody, hey Verge, thank me later. You should have bought Verge. I go, you know, I didn't have it, but I'm fucking happy for you, bro. I'm happy for you. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
But
that's the way you got to look at it. I like that mentality.
The point that I'm trying to make is that, look, this shit ain't easy. And if you're going to make money, you earned it. It's not free. This is not free. Yeah. Like doing this is, it's sadistic.
It's draining, you know, emotionally, mentally, it's draining. You never get any days off, you know?
No, it doesn't stop.
I quit my 9-to-5, but I got a 24/7 instead, which is totally crypto. Granted, I think we all enjoy it a lot more than our old 9-to-5s or whatever. But,
do you really though?
Anyway,
like, do you really? Like, people look at me like, hey, you work from home, and like, yo, I've done that 9-to-5 shit. This is way harder. It's not even close.
It is.
Like, it's not
harder, but more rewarding.
It's more rewarding. Absolutely. I have no regrets.
Yeah. All right, fellas. We're going to wrap this up. We're just about out of time. KJ, awesome having you on, man. A lot of interesting thoughts. You're a great fit for a podcast, I must say. Yeah. Not to give you any ideas, but I think you could have your own.
That was awesome, man.
Anyway, lots of good thoughts. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we did good radio.
So any last thoughts you want to impart on the listeners? Anything you want to put out there, where they can find you, anything like that?
You guys know where to find me. Here's my thoughts. When you know these motherfucking guys, like they go, Verge, thoughts? I hate that shit. Like, what the fuck? You know, they go, thoughts, SDK, thoughts, icon, thoughts. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
If you like a coin, research it and say, hey, I think Icon has some really good partnerships. What do you think about it? You know, you come up with something. Exactly. Don't just say the fucking coin and go thoughts, because I will ridicule you. I will. I'm done with that shit. I'm done. No more thoughts.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree.
I hate it.
All right. Since I'm taking Dale's role, I got to say, tip your waitress. They're working hard. All that, yada, yada. We love you guys. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you guys later.
Long live Lux.
There it is.
I did it for Dale. Thank you, guys.